We got you a Friday Night Live, October 25th, 2024, folks. I am looking forward to bringing this update. Unfortunately, we have some bad news. Screen behind me, or I should say the light behind me, I have flipped it red. Markets are down. But more importantly than the markets is we have the World War III events picking up. I'm still watching to see here if this is the true correction before the election that I've been talking about. We're going to see that in the markets. But Bitcoin and market volatility coming in without a doubt. Gold going to another new all-time high this week. What signal has that been sending? As I've been saying, the markets are not pricing in World War III. They're not pricing in another assassination attempt. They're not pricing in whatever's going to come our way here, as I think that we're just teed up for chaos on the world stage and back home here in the United States. A volatile election season, I think, to put it lightly. How does this impact the markets, our bag, our investments? What are we going to do about it? That's the question. Are we going to trade memes? Are we going to flip memes during World War III? You know, it's interesting to watch the performance of the memes so far. Activity on the First Ledger platform at an all-time high today, once again, setting another record. So XRP community activity starting to ramp up, XRP Ledger activity starting to ramp up. The vibes are back in the XRP community, even though price is down. Now, we have to sit back and understand what's taking place right now. This is a setup, right? As I titled this episode here tonight, XRP final days before Bullrun. I'm going to show you some technical analysis from my good friend Waters Above Crypto. And we're going to take a look at these charts, not only for cryptocurrency, but for the stock market. I'm going to show you what just happened for gold and silver this week. Take a look at the current events here to start off, though, folks. It is picking up here once again. We've been waiting for this Israel response. I'm going to get right on into this update. But before I do, I just want to make sure everybody remembers to like the stream, share the stream, tell your friends, family, loved ones, and even people that maybe just, want to get caught up on cryptocurrency opportunities. We got it covered from the current events, financial markets, and the cryptocurrency opportunities. I didn't know that flipping memes was going to be part of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history, but we're making some money, having some fun, but we're always staying prepared, and I've been staying liquid. I've been talking about this correction before the election. Let's take a look at it, folks. Live updates from Wall Street Journal. Israel strikes back at Iran, further expanding war in the Middle East. This is the live update. Let me refresh this. As these situations develop, we always want to get the update out, but please remember that these situations can change. We are now getting confirmations, though, that Israel has struck back at Iran early Saturday, delivering a much-threatened response to this month's 180 missile attack by Tehran, and further expanding the hostilities that have spiraled out of the war in Gaza. So this is Iran, 180 missiles earlier. Was that last month? I forget the timing of that. The response from Israel has arrived. We're seeing reports of bombs going off in multiple cities in Iran. Israel's military confirmed that it had hit military targets. Iranian state media is reporting explosions in Tehran, though not reporting a cause. You're going to get conflicting reports out of both sides. This is what takes in every single conflict, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, whether it's the United States and the 100 plus countries that we're in. I mean, we've lost track of how many countries we got troops in, but you get the point here. What we're trying to do is provide you what's happening now and the market reaction. This is interesting. The attacks begin after markets close on Friday here. This is Saturday in the region. And so obviously, even though the stock market, the New York Stock Exchange came out today, and they said that they want to move to 22 hours of trading per day, not 24/7. So they're trying to catch up to speed, but they're still not going to go 24/7 with it, just up to 22 hours. Now, so we're watching crypto, right? Futures markets are closed, stock markets closed. The only thing that can react to the World War III events that are taking place right now is crypto and memes. So we're going to take a look at this Bitcoin chart here to start. Back down to 66,000. And at one point earlier today, we were down to 65.6. big back test after Bitcoin had gone all the way up to almost 69,000, right? We were getting folks really excited here once again. And then on Monday, that's when Bitcoin had shot up to 69.5. So this week we set in this current trend, we've set another higher high, another higher low, and we have completely flipped this trend bullish. Now, I want to get to waters above too here, and I'll show you guys what he's calling the calm before the storm, what he's calling the final days, and this is the final moment, I think, before we shoot off into the next bull run. How long will this move last? How long will the correction before the election last? Now, in cryptocurrency, the markets react so much faster, right? But I expect this to be another V-shaped recovery, just like we saw in 2020. The opportunities to buy these dips, they come and they go rather quickly. Now, this is the Qcoin chart, which shows XRP going down to 48.7. So back below 50 cents. Excuse me. So what we see today is a back test of XRP, of Bitcoin, that we were expecting. I've been talking about the hedge against the SEC appeal and the other broader macroeconomic situation and current events and black swans and a World War III and, the events here of this election cycle in the United States of America. Gold has been sending the signal, and it did so by shooting up to an all-time high this week of 2,770, right? That was on Wednesday. Now, we see that gold trends above 2,700 all week long, holding this new all-time high, and we close out the week just shy here of that all-time high at 2,760. Incredible strength and an incredibly powerful signal that we've been watching. Many folks just want to get to the crypto, and it's been hilarious to watch those comments come through. They say, who cares about metal? We want to get to crypto. We want to get to the memes. And yeah, you're not going to get 10,000% returns. You're not going to get that 50x off gold. Or will you? I mean, it depends what currency you're trading in, right? Relative to some currencies, well, it probably has actually done that. Against the US dollar, we've seen incredible strength, and it's been sending a signal that we've picked up on. We've been commenting on this. This is the correction before the election that I've been talking about. Where are we seeing strengths? The strengths that we're seeing are in the assets that we've been holding as the hedge. $33.88 for silver to close out the week. A week where we traded above, let's go here to the 5-day chart, above $33 per ounce all week. So just like gold's been continuing to set new all-time highs, setting new levels of support and just building from there. New all-time high after new all-time high after new all-time high. And you got to give a shout out to the gold bugs and the silver, the metals guys and gals, because they have been holding, some of them, this asset. I had someone in the comments telling me that they sold gold that they had bought in the early 2000s at $300 per ounce. And the reports that I'm getting back from the affiliates that I use, I have a couple sources down below in the links in the description of the video for precious metals. And I'm talking to local dealers as well. I'm reading on X stories from the owners of these stores saying that retail's mostly selling at these prices at an all-time high. We don't have many retail buyers. We have mostly, 3-to-1 sellers of gold compared to buyers. So why are we still hitting new all-time highs? Because it's purely an institutional accumulation phase for gold. Even at new all-time highs, they're still loading up the vaults. For silver, now we're setting a new support here above $33. When we break $35, because it's not a matter of, if we will, when we break $35, watch out. It is no man's land between $35 per ounce and that $50 all-time high price for silver. So look out. At $50 all-time high, I'm going to be around doubling up the silver bag, right? I've been accumulating my physical silver. It's a small portion of my portfolio. It's a hedge against inflation and really a hedge against stupidity from governments. It's worked rather well so far, but there's still incredible room to run on silver. When we look at these stock markets that have been going to all-time high, that the talking head pundits on CNBC tell us we should just ape into, who shills harder? This is a serious question. Let me know in the comments down below. Who shills harder? The CNBC talking head pundits that tell you to buy, these stocks at all-time highs, whether it's the index or whether it's the high-flying Magnificent Seven. Nvidia did flip Apple today, by the way. That did take place. These have absolutely ripped, and they continue to go set new all-time highs. But I've always said, how much more do they have to run, right? How much upside potential do you have when we're looking at a similar situation where we have downside exposure to 20 to 30% if things go nicely? If we do achieve a soft landing, which is an absolute joke, find a soft spot on your couch and pray that you can find another job. And many of us are all working 2 and 3 jobs. I run 2 businesses. I'm right here in the trenches with you guys. I'm running 2 businesses and I'm flipping my meme coins to try to take advantage of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history while navigating the current events. Should we ape into the stocks? Well, here's your Dow Jones, back down right now to 42,100. You saw it was down all week from the Friday all-time high that the Dow Jones just set here. This is all-time high. We are back down right now. Let's take a look at this measurement. Already back down almost 3%, which compared to crypto is nothing. Compared to the major index, the Dow Jones, that's a pretty big move. NASDAQ actually punched back up. This is the market volatility, though, that we got to watch out for. This is what gets folks wrecked. This is why I'm not shorting the stocks. I'm placing my bet by going long on metals and holding my crypto for the recovery, because the recovery pump is going to be epic. Now, the NASDAQ 100 shoots back up here today, but then closes the day red, and it's looking like it's about to flip, getting a little top heavy. And then the S&P 500 was basically down all week long, and then we did get a bounce today. We got a little bounce today, and then as soon as the markets close, World War III escalation continues. US dollar versus Japanese yen back up to 152. So because the Central Bank of Japan has not remained hawkish and not continued to raise rates, we are seeing that the US dollar has been strengthening against the Japanese yen, even though we know that our Fed has really blown things up and really screwed things up in a massive way, right? They came in and cut 50 basis points on September 18th. And what did I say? Remember, last time they did this, back in 2007, they started the cut cycle on September 18th. We pumped for a couple more weeks, and then all hell broke loose and the S&P 500 dropped by 57% over the next year. And so here we got the 10-year bond yield, which has climbed and popped 18%. But remember, this is the inverse. This is selling off, right? Folks are selling off the bonds and they are calling the bluff on the Fed. Now they're up to 4.2%. And this is also pricing in a Trump victory. Basically, because they're saying that there's going to be more of a deficit and more inflation. And that would be true. That would absolutely be true. No matter who gets elected, we got a serious problem. And the interest rate maneuvers have completely failed. The interest rate maneuvers have not saved the day. Jerome Powell cuts 50 basis points. The yield on our borrowing has climbed 18%. It has gotten more expensive to borrow money. The 30-year mortgage is back above 7% once again. Even on your 2-year, you're back up to 4.1. 10-year, they need to attract a 4.24 to get a buyer. And then on the long end of the curve, 4.5 for your 20-year and your 30-year, because nobody wants to do this deal. There's no buyers. And I wanted to make that point in relation to, well, yeah, gold just saw its highest weekly inflow since July of 2020. Yeah, gold's been setting the signal. But I wanted to make that point as I roll on into covering BRICS and what just took place with Putin. They were able to get their BRICS summit done before World War III escalations continued, which was rather convenient, I would say, right? I mean, from a strategic standpoint, you think that they would have launched the attacks while the BRICS members were all meeting there in Russia with Mr. Putin. But President Putin says that BRICS is not creating any financial alternatives to SWIFT, but is instead using national currencies for international trade settlements. As this playing field gets leveled, these countries have to show up with value backing their currency. They don't have the privilege that we do here in the United States. But what's happening is that the BRICS is forcing the hand of this dollar, and you're starting to see the dollar has been weakening against some of these other currencies. And the United States has a trust problem. Foreign buyers, foreign investors have been sellers. They haven't been foreign buyers. They've been foreign sellers of U.S. bonds. Now, what is it going to take for BRICS to get their act together and understand that the XRP ledger is ready to roll? If they want a new settlement system for stable coins or CBDCs or oil, commodities, trading any form of value on a neutral ledger with a bridge currency that could be used as a reserve, and a ledger that's also, been shown to be running for over 10 years now. The only, other ledger that has more track record would be Bitcoin. Well, we see those actual functionality, efficiency, and that's being displayed right now with the XRP meme craze, which is hilarious to see. It's very ironic. While we sit around and wait for the banks to flip the switch, what's happening right now is that the memes are attracting all this attention because the XRP ledger just works. Whether it's for meme coin trading or whether it's for flowing huge amounts of liquidity, and we're going to see much larger amounts of liquidity coming to the XRP ledger ecosystem. It is running so well, garnering so much attention that we got all of the degens flooding into the XRP ledger right now. Now, it's funny, I did hear somebody describe this as the gates of hell have opened on the XRP ledger, which I think is actually a pretty good description, because I've been listening to these degens this past week, and it's like, I got to take a step away from the degens for a moment, cover BRICS Summit. We got a World War III going on, and I'm in a space earlier as World War III, the bombs are dropping in, Israel's attack is taking place, and I'm in an XRP space, which was a good space. Huge shout out to the XRP community. But we're in there talking about freaking memes. Once again, the market pulling back. And this is why we've been focused on covering more than memes. Not just being the crypto bro. Understanding the current events and how it's going to impact all of the financial markets. This pullback has become an opportunity for our community. It's interesting. On days when we get pullbacks, in the comments, in the sentiment on X, on Twitter, in the Twitter spaces, it's all XRP's bad. XRP's bad. Told you it was never going to go to $1. Insert the thousands of different negative XRP comments they make. That's, in the public. I go on into my Discord group, people are buying every single time. And many of you guys are as well. Let me know in the comments down below if you were able to buy that dip, sub 50 cent XRP. I know that for many people, that was kind of the next level that there's buyers at, which is why we see such strength come in when we get these pullbacks. There's so many people waiting on the sideline to buy more XRP. There's all these meme degens are trying to trade these memes to make more XRP. If you listen, I've been listening in the spaces to get a gauge. A lot of these guys, and we've seen this, I've covered this. Everybody in this space who wants to make money, which is everybody in this space, holds a bag of XRP. It's their little moon bag. And these are the biggest XRP haters, but they just can't help themselves, which is why they got their little XRP moon bag. And now I'm listening to all these meme degens come into the space, and they're trying to trade memes to make more XRP. And sure, yeah, some of them I'm sure are cashing out and they just hop around from one chain to another. There's a lot of that. But what's happening right now on the XRP ledger is the activity, the volumes, the AMM liquidity pools are all spiking. What will stay? What will last? Well, the real value will, which means that 99% of them will go to zero or basically die off. Whether or not they go to zero, right? You can still hold a dead project. Ask me how I know that. Okay, so welcome to the game. It is not a level playing field. See, I'm a doofus moron trader. I've still managed to about 5x my bag so far on trading the memes. That's fun. I'm a doofus moron when it comes to trading against these guys that are deploying bots, AI scripts. They're running AI scripts on the First Ledger platform, putting it into their bots. They're hanging out in the spaces. And I'm watching these degens. Some of you guys are listening to me right now. You guys are crazy. Shout out to all the crazies in the chat. I'm watching as these guys are running these spaces. Somebody comes up and shills some ticker, some stupid meme. I go to the order book on First Ledger, and all these degens are piling in. But we got, really sophisticated snipers, and big whales that are coming in and taking people's lunch. And that's the game, right? That's what comes with this. Is it net positive? I still believe it is. I want to see the XRP ledger get tested. I want to see the beauty of this is you can put whatever you want of value, which is subjective to whatever you consider to be value, whether that's your meme or whether that's the announcement that we got this week from Aurum, the private equity firm, that's going to tokenize a first of its kind $1 billion debt and equity fund on the XRP ledger. We got memes. We got private equity funds tokening the first of their kind. We don't got anything like this really in crypto. Where's it coming? XRP ledger. When you look at the stats of real world asset tokenization, you look at BlackRock, they've already tokenized about $500 million of treasuries. They're touting that as a big success. And of course, BlackRock's ready to come eat it all up. We see that there's a report of about 4 billion real world assets tokenized by the end of 2023. Now we're 10 months into 2024. So we can assume that that's probably grown some, right? But you get the point. There's not more than maybe 5-6 billion of real world asset tokenized over any chain or over all chains, cumulative, right? With the XRP ledger, we're going to get about 1/5 of that, one quarter, 1/5. We'll see what the update is on real world asset tokenization so far. But this is just one firm that's tokenizing on the XRP ledger. There's already a bunch more tokenization on the XRP ledger. And the point that gets proven is that Joe Blow can launch his Joe Blow token. And on the very same day, on the very same block, on the very same transaction, through the ledger, we can have a firm launch, a $1 billion tokenized equity deal on the XRP ledger. And remember, this is just one. This is just the first of many that are coming into the XRP ledger ecosystem. When Tether gets crushed and delisted, you do realize that the whole market will crash. Of course. We've been prepared for that. Guys, this is why some people call me a doomer, because I have a hedge and I talk about a hedge. People don't want to hear that at all. They just want bullish, pump me up, meme time, 100x, 10x, Nobody wants to talk about the hedge. The hedge isn't as sexy. I think that the hedge is really sexy. The hedge turns me on because the hedge performing damn well. So I like talking about the hedge. I like being able to go to sleep at night peacefully knowing that, yeah, I got some meme trades active. I also have been prepping. I got my deal squared away here at home, right? We got to be ready to ride out the storm. Now, I want to continue on here. This is why I titled this episode XRP Final Days Before Bullrun. I'm going to show you waters above. He's the one that, used the term final days and calm before the storm. I'm going to show you his technical analysis next. But the point being, we got a pullback right now for World War III. Do we got election chaos coming? Yes. This is the October surprise on the world stage. We still got the October surprise back here in the homeland. We have some serious scenarios to consider that bring markets down. That's why I'm hedged. With liquidity ready to deploy on these assets that we firmly believe in, right? Now, why would we be buying this dip? Some people say, XRP is never going to go to $1 this bull run. Some folks say that, Bitcoin's not going to go very far. I think that even if Bitcoin doubles up, that's about as far as I think it's stretching out from here, which I think is pretty conservative, but very reasonable. So you could get a 100% gain if we double up from Bitcoin's levels of 70,000 to 140, 150. What does this do, though, for the rest of the space? When we're starting to see the legislation get passed here at the state level, an undercurrent, stable coins at the national level, and then at the state level, we're getting bills like this. Pennsylvania passes Bitcoin rights bill to protect rights of self-custody and allow the use of Bitcoin as a payment method. Now, what I'm curious to see is how this works for taxes, because when we start to get into the currency, if some of these states define them as currencies, using them as a payment method, okay, how are these assets going to be taxed going forward? This gets very interesting to me. But this is why anything that we get between now and then, I know it sounds crazy to be buying crypto during these World War III events, during, lights going out, right? And that's what's crazy to think about is, some degens, the lights go out, a few days of darkness, 10 days of darkness. Some of you degens are going to be checking the memes. That's where we're at. As long as you have all your other prepping supplies and you're ready, I guess might as well make the meme trades. As long as systems are still online. No matter what storm we have to go through, no matter whether Tether's about to go down, which we believe that's been our thesis. Our thesis is dozens of scenarios that we have to get through to the other side. The other side being the bull run. So, I'm going to show you here, waters above TA. We're seeing reports, though, that Tether is now being investigated by the U.S. government. Now, obviously, this wouldn't be the first time. We know that they already have previous settlements, previous issues, run-ins with the law. And now the Tether CEO, Paulo Ardono, denies this, but this is a Wall Street Journal report that the firm is under investigation by the U.S. government. So we're watching Tether very closely. This is the technical analysis that inspired tonight's video. This Bitcoin chart shows that today, October 25th, is truly the, quote, final days before rocket emoji, number go up, chart go up emoji. This repeating pattern of a bear trap to kick off the month plus recovery and grind up into the last days of October is exactly what Bitcoin is doing now. The train leaves the station soon. Let's take a look at the charts. Huge shout out to Waters Above, by the way. I had him on, interviewed Waters Above a couple years ago now. Actually been maybe 2-3 years now. Been a couple years. Might have to get Waters Above back to explain what's going on here, because this is a very interesting pattern that he's picked up on. October 25th in 2013, 2017, 2020, and even last year in 2023. This is the calm before the storm. This is the calm before the storm. What do you guys think about this? Somebody said they saw my shirt. Yes, I do have the Joel Katz, David Schwartz shirt on tonight. One of our favorites. I roll through about half a dozen different XRP shirts. Really, maybe only like 3 or 4. I got to get some fresh XRP merch. We got some fresh XRP merch that's actually on the way too. Stay tuned for that. This is the calm before the storm, though, according to Waters Above Crypto. I found his analysis to be rather unique. One of the few that I actually listen to in the space. I don't listen to anybody on TA right now. I really don't listen to anybody else in crypto other than in the general spaces. But what we notice here is interesting. We head into an election cycle. We head into a World War III. To me, the calm before the storm has really passed. I think that the storm has arrived. It's just, what's going to be the eye of the storm is what we're debating. Are we in the eye of the storm yet? Sometimes it feels like it. And sometimes it'll feel like it in your life. Right? But when you continue to show up every day, focused on what matters most, focused on the few, not the many, by the way, that's another strategy that I think that we should all consider. Focus on the few, not the many. You don't need 50 different meme coins. It's really impossible to watch unless you're running your bots. Maybe some of you guys are sophisticated, or maybe it's your full-time hustle. But for most people, you don't need 50 different meme coins. And for most folks, you don't need to overcomplicate this, right? It's a matter of surviving the events to come, literally, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. This is it. Now, I've always said, I don't need to know what the Black Swan event's going to be. I prepare the same way for the, scenarios across the board. What we're looking at on this chart right here, and this pattern that he picked up on, is that this is a very normal pullback before we continue climbing higher. And we've seen this in the previous election year of 2020. Saw it again in the 2017 bull run and again in the 2013 bull run. So very typical. Now, what's interesting too, is you look back on these charts, on a lot of these, you get a pullback back in here during the summer, which we've gotten, right? We've already corrected in crypto a couple times in August. If we go back to our Bitcoin chart, remember August was when the Japan carry trade unwind really killed us. We went back down to 48,000. Ever since then, though, and really, that was when we cleaned out and flushed out a lot of leverage. The financial system and the Japan carry trade is part of a global margin call that is not over, though. That's what most folks don't understand. So although we flipped the trend, I've been, talking about this ever since we flipped it. I said, guys, we flipped the trend. We're setting higher highs, higher lows. We're building, right? And we're rocking and rolling. But we're hanging on the edge of a cliff that's a liquidity event that we have not fixed. This is why I'm hedged. This is why I'm staying liquid. This is why, for many of us, we were happy to pick up XRP sub 50 cents once again. Is there more to come? What we have to watch here is the events that are taking place over this weekend and see, but I would expect massive volatility to come in on Sunday when the futures markets open up. So I'll probably be back on Sunday for a session as these markets open up, because we just got a major event while the markets are closed. We got to watch closely as they open back up. Now, I want to get into a few points here on XRP. This was, a recording here from Digital Asset Investor that I thought was very, very interesting right here. This is Digital Asset Investor. Sounds like he went to DC FinTech Week with our good friend Brad Kimes, Digital Perspectives. He's in the crowd here, and he says, you won't see this on crypto, right? Mainstream crypto. Crypto industry hate for Ripple is alive and well. Many of you remember during the early days of uncovering ETHgate, the entire crypto industry gleefully watched the SEC sue Ripple and didn't lift a finger to help until much later when they realized they would be next. Turns out they are still bitter. I watched many sessions with Brad Kimes at DC FinTech Week 2024, and this was not my imagination. It didn't happen in any of them until Brad Garlinghouse came on stage. All of a sudden, there was a mass exodus from the room when he came up. I was shocked to the point I looked at Brad and said, "Why is everyone leaving?" The room was full of regulators and attorneys, many of which were covered during ETHgate. The XRP Unleashed documentary is more important than ever and is selling out for a reason. More of this video on my YouTube channel now. Now, a huge shout out to the OGs, right? Massive respect to DAI and Brad Kimes, our good friends, who have been on top of this from the very beginning and have been able to find these, showing up here. And this is, once again, the mainstream crypto news doesn't want to talk about us. They're being forced to now. And this documentary set to go viral here is going to force them to talk about XRP once again. Now, I'm going to show you here. This is the documentary trailer that just dropped today, guys. An updated documentary trailer for XRP Unleashed just dropped. This is going to be going live on November 21st. Full documentary is going to be live on Fruition Network, their website. I'm going to show you guys this clip here. It's about 2 minutes long. Take a listen in.
SEC is preparing to sue that crypto startup. The asset in question here is called XRP.
Jay Clayton drops this lawsuit on his last day in office, like mission accomplished.
We became convinced that this whole case was merely a show.
The SEC has become a rogue agency.
And our approach in the last several years have been just really a disaster.
Day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman.
We don't need more digital currency. We already have digital currency. It's called the US dollar.
The SEC came out and said Ether is also not a security.
We believe current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions.
I also have some theories as to some of the non-legal things that the SEC was trying to do.
He was also being paid as a profit-sharing partner from his law firm, Simpson Thacher. That mission of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance was fulfilled.
Hinman has this unique personal financial interest. He could not be involved in certain matters because they benefited him financially.
These two individuals are working at crypto firms that made very big bets on Ethereum.
Jay Clayton, within a couple of months, goes to One River, who benefited from this decision. When you follow the money, it paints a very clear picture. China's financial elite working with the U.S. financial elite and the regulators of the U.S. financial system to front run the new global digital financial system.
Who wins? That's the question here. Who wins? Because I think that China wins.
Charles said the Chinese have been courting Vitalik hard.
You can order it now on fruitionproductions.com. Folks, we're going to take this story viral whether they like it or not. They can leave the room when Brad Garlinghouse comes in. That's fine, because we know what rooms Brad's getting invited to. And as we've seen, all these exchanges, all these platforms, even Consensus, which we exposed in all of this, right? With MetaMask is now showing up, and they're bringing their 30 million users. MoonPay showing up with their 60 million users and commenting that they didn't realize how loud and strong the XRP community is. And guess what we just got to help push this thing further, which I know is on the completely opposite end of the ETHgate spectrum, is memes, which I think, hey, let's use some memes to make this story go viral too, right? While we're at it, not necessarily tokens, you guys can go play around all you want, but let's make some memes to help make this thing go viral too, right? Which is kind of what the red folder was, right? Was it got the message out. It, was a symbol of the damages done to the XRP community. What gets this story to go viral, in my opinion, is not just what's going on with XRP, but the overall corruption within our government. That's a story that sells to not just crypto bros and not just the XRP army getting ourselves hyped up about building the new financial system. What's the story that sells? Exposing it all at the same time as our XRP ledger is getting all this utility, is getting all these users, is getting all this liquidity, is getting memes, NFTs, AMM, DID. Acceler is going to tap us in with 55 other blockchains so we can take what we need and bring it back to the most liquid chain in the world. Right? 2 points. You saw in the documentary trailer right there, Steven Narioff reading off messages from Charles Hoskinson. That's what that was. This thing's about to get blown wide open. He just said, right? And I'm telling you, there's a smoking gun that I think is going to be released here shortly as well. It is without a doubt. So you saw Steven mention that. Steven's going to be included. I'm glad that we got Fred Rispoli in there too. Huge shout out to Fred. Love Fred. Fred sings great karaoke at XRP Las Vegas, by the way. Huge shout out to Fred. Sometimes he listens to the late night sessions because he's on the West Coast too. You saw Tristan Leavitt, I think is how you pronounce his name, from Empower. They hosted a space today on X talking about the Freedom of Information Act requests that they submitted and now the lawsuits that they filed, but it gave an update on the Office of Inspector General, the OIG report that was about Bill Hinman and SEC conflicts of interest. So it was about conflict of interest at the SEC and it was about Bill Hinman. An OIG report, he said that it might already be done. They're just not releasing it. I wonder if they're waiting for this election to get over, right? I wonder if that's what they're waiting for. I wonder if they're waiting for, this election to get over to see whether or not they have a job or not, right? Because we know if it's starting from the top down, if we know Elon Musk is coming in to, clean it up, that the party might come to an end. Now, part of making this go viral is the community effort. I think that this is the perfect time. Obviously we were hoping that the case was done. It's not. They appealed. What I like though, is you see in those clips, they've added new clips that have just occurred, over the past couple weeks, right? This documentary is going to come out after John Dean just took XRP viral last week in the debates, right? All these different platforms showing up, the private equity platform showing up. We're getting additional amendments going live here in about a week that help bring in big institutions. We got the memes, which is bringing in tens of thousands of users. And it's not just First Ledger and memes. We got to listen to Wietse from Zaman, the Zaman wallet, XRPL Labs, which is now a different name. We got to listen to Wietse, though, say that they're back now to record volume and activity on their wallet. I got to listen to Daniel from Casino Coin talk about how they're noticing an uptick of liquidity coming into there. So funny enough, you bring in the degens that trade memes, and then they get to find out about a Casino Coin platform and a poker betting platform where they can go gamble against each other in other ways as well. And the degens love it. And so we're seeing this liquidity is coming into the XRP ecosystem. But think about this, when we get into a real opportunity over the next couple of years where, yeah, sure, you can play around, you can trade around with your memes, your NFTs, whatever you want to do, but you could roll that back into XRP. But the opportunities across the board with real world asset tokenization as well, the ability to invest in some of these, projects that are coming onto the XRP ledger, the ability to participate in their AMM liquidity pools. Now, there's still a couple things in the works, obviously, with legislation set to get passed here. What I love to see right now is that the states are forcing the hand of the federal government. That's what we want to see. The states are forcing the feds to move on crypto. Now Maxine Waters wants to do the great grand bargain, the great new deal for crypto stablecoins. Why? Because the banksters that fill her pockets are telling her that we can't wait any longer, that the liquidity crisis is here. Nobody wants to use our US dollar, right? But if they do, they want to use it in a digital stablecoin. These are folks in countries where, you know, they want access to stability. Their country's worse than the dollar. Doesn't mean that the dollar is great. Remember, foreign institutions and central banks and sovereign funds are dropping our bonds at the fastest pace since the great financial crisis. But as billions of people come online and are underbanked and underserved, they'll take anybody that'll serve them. So when Stellar's showing up, when Ripple's showing up, when insert any other crypto company that's actually laying in some groundwork and getting some things done, and I think that you're going to see this explode with ROUSD after Ripple goes live with that stablecoin. That stablecoin is going to bring in institutional liquidity. On the bottom end, we got the First Ledger platform and the memes bringing in all the retail liquidity. And you can see that retail liquidity is enough to pump a coin. Is it enough to take XRP to $100, $589, $10,000 per XRP? No, retail's not taking us there. I think retail's taking us a lot shorter than that length. But it's a perfect convergence of retail activity and hype. And it's at the higher end, institutions being brought in by Ripple. Now we get to drop this XRP Unleashed bomb. It's going to be one of the best crypto documentaries done. Mark my words on that. This is going to be one of the most interesting crypto documentaries that's been done. Because this story of corruption is at a massive scale. That's not just, a story of some crypto bros that scammed and made some millions and live like degens, blew it all, and, that's the story. There's a bunch of those stories, and there's going to be more after this bull run too. This story is one that goes viral within the United States of America, which goes viral in Massachusetts, which goes viral with people that are starting to understand, how corrupt this government has become, how fat this government has gotten, and what can we do about it? When we see that, yes, there are, some bad actors in crypto, but the good actors that are trying to show up and do things the right way, for some reason, are the ones that our resources and taxpayer dollars have been put towards. Not FTX, not Luna, not all these other obvious scams, right? But we go after the legitimate players for a speeding ticket equivalent violation, which is what Ripple did. What Ripple did by quote unquote breaking the law, right? Folks want to tell us that Ripple still broke the law. They committed a speeding ticket. Have you committed a speeding ticket? Right? You pay your fine. In this case, in the securities world, a $125 million fine is nice. The SEC wants that, but they just can't help themselves. See, the SEC should have just taken their money, called it a victory, called it a win, and left it. I believe that they're not suing and continuing on with the appeal to get more money because they didn't, argue in their appeal that there should still be a bigger disgorgement or a bigger penalty, right? They're still appealing and still stalling this thing out because they've been doing everything that they can to stop this, to perfectly time this reset, restructure, and revaluation. Now, gold's been sending a signal since it broke 2,100 into new all-time highs. With everything going on, gold pushing back up above 2,100 and continuing to set new all-time highs up to 2,700 was sending a signal this whole time. Bitcoin, in the blink of an eye, has flipped back, right? I mean, a relative blink of the eye, right? From the liquidation event on August 5th, we cleaned out the leverage, and then we climbed from 48,000 back up here to 69,000. That's how crypto wrecks people even in Bitcoin, the most deep and liquid market, is it gets folks, suckered back in here. But we remain incredibly vulnerable on the downside when we get events like we got here today. When our community sees this take place, they're accumulating. They're still stacking. That's why I love this community is no matter what we've been against, we've been focused on what matters. We've been continuing to accumulate from a fundamental thesis. In the fundamental thesis, we are willing to question. Sometimes we get mad. Hey, Ripple could have done this better. Brad could have said this in his speech. So-and-so could have done this. We could have passed an amendment faster, whatever the deal is. But when you zoom out, when you get a little bit of perspective here on who's actually doing something that matters in crypto and who's playing around, it's becoming really clear to me and to many of you guys out in the crowd. Now, this is Grayscale shilling their XRP trust. As I've been saying, the suits are now selling it with slideshow presentations. I don't need to shill XRP. The suits are doing it for me. I don't need to put on a suit anymore. I can wear my David Schwartz Simpsons character shirt. I can put a meme on my shirt. I don't need to put on my suit and sell this thing. The suits are already doing it for us. And this is one of many of their trusts that I do expect them to roll on into an ETP or an ETF. Probably going to be an ETP because we know that XRP in and of itself is not a security. So I expect it to probably be an XRP ETP. This is something I saw many people asking me about this, and I wanted to cover it here. The potential for Ripple to either be bought out and also the potential for Ripple to buy R3. That was some conversations that were happening earlier this week. I'm going to play this clip here. You can listen to Brad's response when asked directly if Ripple is thinking to sell to a large financial firm. Take a listen.
I want to switch gears for a second here. Got to get your opinion on what we just saw just this week. Eye-popping deal, really, for Stripe to acquire a stablecoin platform, a more than $1 billion deal in this industry. When you look at a deal like that, do you say, okay, maybe we sell Ripple or at least partner with another large financial technology firm to expand in the world of stablecoins?
Look, I look at that as a very positive sign that this industry is just becoming more and more mainstream, more and more integrated, and in more and more demand in different payment flows. So I view it as a very positive thing for the industry. As you probably know, Ripple is about to release our own stablecoin called RLUSD. I think the stablecoin market's going to continue to grow, and I think Stripe is clearly indicating they think the same.
Ripple CEO Brad.
I want to switch gears for a second here. Got to get your opinion on.
Now, that was a pretty slick one by Brad. That's why we got him in that position, because he skirted that one very nicely, very politely, right? Talking about the launch of the stablecoin in response to, have you thought about selling out? He completely veered off course. Well done, though, by Brad. Showing strength always, which is the point. Is R3 in trouble? What does R3 have? What gets very interesting about the R3 deal, I always brought it up, I continue to bring it up, is that R3 tried to get 5 billion XRP. They settled up with Ripple for 1 billion XRP. And the question remains, do they still have the XRP? What else does R3 have? Now, R3, sorry, one sec, my TikTok was trying to end my stream on me. R3 tried to get 5 billion, settled for 1 billion. They had a consortium of banks. Apparently, they couldn't get those banks to work with Ripple and use XRP. And so that's where the deal fell apart between Ripple and R3. There was a promise. Hey, you get an options contract here, which, by the way, if anything was an investment contract that was an unregistered security, it was definitely this deal. R3 got a options contract in 2016 where they could buy XRP for 5 years. For 3 years. 3 years, 5 billion XRP that they could buy for less than 1 penny. They had locked in that options contract. Imagine that. Imagine being able to lock in an options contract in 2016 for being able to buy 3 years, to be able to buy XRP at less than a penny, 5 billion of them. That deal fell apart because R3 wasn't able to get these, Goldman Sachs and others that were part of R3's consortium of banks, that were part of their network, and that were going to be part of Corda Settler. Remember that XRP was the first currency that was used in Corda Settler. Corda Settler is blockchain agnostic, so it can use XRP, XDC, and many others. Primarily, I think that they use XDC now. I don't know what the update is on that, but it's not primarily XRP now. But it can use XRP. Originally, that's why they acquired or tried to acquire 5 billion XRP. But anyways, the deal falls apart. They settle up for 1 billion XRP. So we know that R3 got 1 billion XRP. We just don't know if they still have it or what they're doing with it. And then we don't know what R3 has as far as their consortium, their network, Corda Settler. Who do they have as clients? A lot of these banks are making a choice right now on who they're going to work with and who they're going to tap in with, or if they're going to do it in-house. Now, we see the traction that Ripple's been gaining has far outpaced anybody else in the cryptocurrency space by far. It's not even close. Even Stellar is a long ways behind, right? As far as getting banks and institutional partners on board. Corda is dead, apparently, and Brad's non-answer speaks volumes. Dennis, the thing about the non-answer is that Brad wants to keep the door open, right? This is how you get these guys to come on in, is that Brad's normally mentioning and talking about how their balance sheet is big, the acquisitions that they've made during this bear market when everybody else was shutting their doors, consolidating and closing up shop. Ripple was still in acquisition mode, and they still have cash and they still have XRP. So Ripple can be in a position to actually go acquire some of these banks. I mean, what's stopping Ripple from acquiring, one of these banks? I mean, look, they acquired Standard Custody and Trust, so now they have the trust company. The next step in that process would be to acquire a bank. I don't know if that's part of their plan, though, because they're already becoming their own bank. See, what do you need to buy? The thing that these banks would have would be clients. Right? When you have the ability to bring Bank of America's clientele onto Ripple payments, Ripple custody, using Ripple stablecoin, tapped in with the XRP ledger, maybe that's what Bank of America was looking forward to when they said that they are waiting to use XRP after the lawsuit for a competitive advantage. We know that Bank of America had over 100 billion of unrealized losses just on their bonds. They've been able to bring it back down below 100 billion, but they still have significant losses on their bonds, and that's not including what they have on real estate, other business and personal loans, and other lines of credit. And that's just one bank's balance sheet. Overall, we know that the banks have over $500 billion in unrealized losses on their bonds. How much do they have in commercial real estate that needs to be reset over the next 2 years? How much real estate's on their balance sheet that they haven't foreclosed on because they don't want to write it down? Before they foreclose on it, it's still an asset on their balance sheet. Why haven't we seen a massive wave of foreclosures despite all the delinquencies? The banks don't want to write it down yet, so they're not foreclosing yet. Everybody's trying to push this thing off, kick this can down the road. And you saw August 5th was us flirting with the liquidity crisis. A global margin call sparked by Japan. Now we got a war picking up here. What's going to happen with oil? Right? And what are the ripple effects going to be from these events? So as we navigate this, once again, where do I see strength? I see strength in real value. I see strength in Ripple. I see strength in XRP. I see strength in some memes, believe it or not. It's kind of stupid, kind of ridiculous. But we are head down, locked in right now. I hope you guys appreciated this update. I wanted to come on in here and make it very clear what's happening. We've been ready for this moment. We've been prepared. We've stayed liquid. We're going to snipe. Speaking of sniping memes, we're sniping XRP. We're sniping other assets. This is, whether this is just, going to take a few days, whether it's going to be more drawn out, Correction before the election has been my prediction. We're watching it kind of unfold. We'll navigate this storm. We continue to pray for peace. We continue to prepare for war. And I continue to prepare for a liquidity crisis sparked by some event. Doesn't matter what the spark is. Matters that we're going to stay liquid. It matters that we're going to survive. It matters how much of these assets can we accumulate in the meantime. And then we get set free on the other side of this thing. XRP Latina, I appreciate the 10 spot. Appreciate that. Get baby L some XRP. I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. I did see that Dennis also dropped a super chat. And yeah, Dennis, I want to say thank you. I just read your question. I completely passed over the fact. I'm so used to Dennis giving super chats. He's such a regular giver. And that's what I'm excited about, is getting ourselves in a position where we can take care of our communities. We can take care of our families, our loved ones. We can take care of our business. We can take care of our investments. Does that include memes? I guess it does. Memes are pretty damn effective. I think that we can use them to not only save this country, save the world, but also make the XRP ledger pretty dang fun. You guys stay safe out there. I got all the links up down below in the description of this video. I want to say thank you for everybody that stopped by here tonight. And if you were looking to join us tomorrow morning, as always, on our Saturday Discord weekly call, we start that up at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. That's going to be another important one. I'm going to be talking about my portfolio, the moves that I've been making in the memes. I'm going to be talking about other moves that I'm making right now. I'm really excited for real estate too. I've been meaning to get a real estate update out. Obviously, been busy with the degens trading memes, and so a couple other updates that I want to get out as well too. So if you've reached out to me, the only place to do so is ZachRector.com. So please make sure you're staying safe out there. I will not message you. I will not launch a token. I will not shill a token. I will not share my bags publicly. I only talk about that in the Discord group. We have a trading channel where I can talk about my moves in an effort of transparency. I don't have trading. I don't have copy signals. I don't do anything like that. Anybody impersonating me like that is a scammer. Please stay safe out there. Please report them because there's a lot of it on all of these platforms. The only place to reach me is ZachRector.com. The only place I do direct messages is within my Discord group with verified community members and on Patreon. So, ZachRector.com. I will not launch a token. I will not shill you a token. I'm here to have fun and take advantage of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history, God willing. Hope you guys enjoyed the Friday night session. I will see you guys tomorrow. God bless all of you guys. Stay safe out there and have fun.